Hi, it's Bodine Victoria from the Bahamas, and you're watching Eliot Kelly TV, inspiring, motivating, and educating one future billionaire at a time.
Everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? Your plan has got to be clear, concise, compelling, consistent, and committed. You've got to have a plan.
Don't go to bed without a plan of how you're going to handle the next day.
You have to work at it every day. You have to plan.
Productivity is never accident. I want you to understand that it's not going to happen by luck.
Success is cause and effect, not magic luck or magic fairy dust. Success is easy. It's making a plan and executing the plan every day. Make a plan, work the plan. Make a plan, work the plan. And whenever the plan doesn't work, you change the plan. That's called failure. It's called learning a lesson. It's called adjusting. If you do the work and you do it for a long enough time, you will be successful, period.
Whatever it is you're bold enough to dream, if you are intentional and deliberate about it, every single day, if you do a little, you're going to wake up one day and your dreams are going to be a reality.
The shortcut is a lie. The hack doesn't get you there. And if you want to take the easy road, it won't take you to where you want to be. To reach goals and overcome obstacles and be the best version of you possible will not happen by itself. It will not happen cutting corners, taking shortcuts, or looking for the easy way. There is no easy way. There is only hard work, late nights, early mornings, practice, rehearsal, repetition, study, sweat, blood, toil, frustration, and discipline. Discipline, the root of all good qualities, the driver of daily execution. Discipline defeats the infinite excuses that say, not today, not now, I need a rest, I'll do it tomorrow. There is only one way, the way of discipline.
There is power in consistency. There is power in doing something over and over and over and over again. There is power in practice.
And your problem is you are on beast mode Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 10 a.m. to 12, beast mode, 1 to 5.
You keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping.
I challenge you. I challenge you to make up the gap. I challenge you to go from average. I challenge you to go from good. I challenge you to go from great. And I challenge you to be phenomenal. I challenge you to live in beast mode, because beast mode makes more money than average does, period.
When you are a true hunter, you don't go by time, you go by the gazelle. You don't hunt from 8 to 3, why? Because the gazelle may not be open from 8 to 3. You hunt until you get a gazelle, and you don't stop until you get one. And then you get another, and then you get another, and you get another.
Don't lose your passion. I'll take it from you. Because that is what keeps it going. You know, if you're passionate about something, don't lose it. Find what your inspiration is and hold on to that. And, you know, inspiration sometimes will evolve into different things, and don't be afraid to accept inspiration from around. It's like you're used to, oh, I'm used to just kind of putting my music on or whatever. No, maybe go out into nature and see creation as it is, you know, but the passion, that deep longing that's always tugging at you, answer it.
You're tuned into Eliot Kelly TV. I am Keysha Edwards-Taylor. Never lose your passion.
Keysha Edwards-Taylor. She's the daughter of Bahamian cultural icon Kayla Lockhart Edwards. Keysha's passion is to uplift and encourage every soul through her compositions. She's an author, she's an entrepreneur, she's released 3 albums, and she's my friend. Welcome to Eliot Kelly TV.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Today we're going to be talking about, obviously you've released 3 major albums. We want to just focus around one of your core albums, which is Deep Songs from Within.
Whoa. Well, I've always written music. I started writing at age 14, and basically just whatever situation I was in, it would reflect, the music would reflect whatever situation I was in. The first song that I wrote when I was 14 was a wedding song for my aunt. And so I just wrote it was a love song. And then from there, just writing different songs, I would write poetry and then put the music to it. So when I did the deep songs from within, where that came from was a journey with God, and how, he brought things that I had experienced from way down deep and emotionally, and how those songs were prayers. They were also expressions that came out. They were just how I thought about things. And then one of the songs is actually a song that my husband wrote, This Is Love. And we decided to put that on the album as well. And that basically is kind of a representation of our love story, how we came together. And the rest of the song is talking about just the relationship that I have with our Father, and just how it resonates to me, what he's saying to me. So I flow it through the music. And the things that I study, I'm in the Word, being a worship leader in the church and being a wife to a senior pastor. So we're in the Word. And so the things that I express come from what I study and my heart. So Deep Songs from Within is coming from that. And it's coupled with the book that I wrote. So, yes.
Certainly. We're going to dive more into the book later on in the discussion. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you've had to overcome professionally, and how did you overcome them?
I'm my worst critic and pretty hard on myself. So that in itself is a big thing. When you're doing something, you always think it's not good enough. It doesn't sound right, or I'm not qualified, or I'm not skilled or trained enough, even though I have the training, especially in piano, my bachelor's degree in it, and then working alongside musicians. I could hold my own. But it's like the biggest challenge I've had professionally is just grasping that confidence and holding on to it and saying, you got this, go do your thing, so that in itself. And then another thing too is just, I hear everything at once as a musician. I hear all the music. So to get it all out and to explain it, it creates a challenge. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't take the challenge. It's just that it's like right before me and I'm like, at first. And then after I calm down and I take one step at a time, what the vocal is going to sound like, what the piano is going to sound like, what the bass is going to, because I hear it all at once. I hear everything just boom, right in my head. And then I have to take it apart. So that's a challenge. Those two things.
Wow, I can totally relate to that. And music is so much like writing, because when you're preparing or you sat down, we were just talking about writing in the brief, weren't we? When you sat down and you're thinking about what am I going to write, like everything comes to your mind, and then you kind of like have to break it all apart and then put it all back together. So I can totally relate to that.
Yes.
Tell us, Keysha, who or what inspires you and keeps you going?
First of all, relationship with God. That's the foremost thing. It wakes me up, and that keeps me going. My husband, he is my number one encourager, and our children. So those three in that order, that is what encourages me. I guess a side B would be the music itself. I love to listen. So when I hear lots of music, I listen to reggae, I listen to pop, listen to hip hop, even the trap music is like appealing to me now. And listen to Junkanoo, I gotta hear it, and then I'm like, I'm done. So those things inspire me.
Certainly. And tell me, are we gonna have to end this interview? Are you a Valley fan? Because I'm a Saxons fan. Who do you pull for?
I'm a Valley.
Okay, this interview, ladies and gentlemen, this interview is officially over. No, I'm just kidding. You guys have actually had some really nice competitions, and whether our wins this year, circa 2000, what is it? 2020, I don't know if that really worked like that. But anyhow, we're not talking about that. We're one. We're friends.
No.
We're
they
friends.
did do good though. I mean, their music was tight. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, as a musician kind of myself, as far as an air musician, I tend to bounce to all of them, and I think if most Bahamians are really fair with themselves, when you're on Bay, especially if you have the VIP experience where everything is going right, and you got whether you're a mutton sauce or a chicken sauce or a pig sauce type of person. Once all of that is right and that bass comes through, you're going to be bumping. So definitely.
Of course.
Congratulations to all the actual persons who participate in John Canoe, whether you're Saxons or whoever you may be. Hope you're Saxons though.
Roots, everybody.
Roots and everybody, even pigs and all those guys.
Right.
We're on social media, and I love social media because for me, social media has expanded my horizons. Keysha, I can't even put it into words. What opportunities do you or have you found social media to have for your particular profession?
I think it's a wonderful medium to use. Back in the day, it was about the vinyl, the records. And then you had the cassette tape with the big boom box, and everybody had that, and it was on a scale of that was the fashion. And now we enter the digital world where just at a click of a button, you can download your song, make your own mixtape, and have that plugged into your ear at hardly any cost. So it is a very lucrative way of getting your music into the ears of the listener. And so when you use social media and you're putting it on there, it also puts a face to the music. People want to know. We're curious as human beings as it is. So when you play into that, it's just something to kind of get the momentum going. It isn't as if, oh, look at me. No, that's not the way I see it. I see it as I'm using it, catch your eye, and I'm going to talk to you, and here's the music. And, with the relationship that is built, people tend to come back and say, what are you doing? What's more music? I want to hear some more. I like your style or whatever. And so it tends to really put you in a place where, you got to be out there and not be afraid to be with people. It's a wonderful tool to use. I think especially I'm an expressive creative, so I'm always expressing something.
Yeah.
And so when the music comes out, I'm expressing the lyrics, whatever scripture I have that's impressed on me, and the music is right behind it. And so when I'm on social media, I'll put a picture up with a scripture or whatever, a thought for the day, and the music is like right there with it. I'll put music on and then drive people to what I've done. The deep songs from within, put that up because they've seen it already. I've already pushed that in their face so much.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh yeah, I got that. And I'm like, yeah, press number 7. Exactly. Like right now, do number 7.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah, you can kind of take your audience on a journey, and just to piggyback on what you said, people tend, and I'm sure you would attest to this, people tend to only do business with persons who they know, like, and trust. And for me, and for many other entrepreneurs out there, social media allows us a platform for people to get to know us, to get to like us, and eventually we gain their trust. And through ethics, we can keep and maintain that trust. So that's
right.
The second thing for me would be the ability to scale. Let's say, for example, we're both we're both creatives. So if you come up with an idea, Keysha, and you say, I wonder about this particular title, you can literally put that title in the front of millions of people and get some instant feedback if this is a working title. For a lot of the persons that are watching the show, they did not all have that society where they had to mail out all of those particular samples or manuscripts. I can send my manuscript to 10 publishers at the touch of a button. And it didn't work like that. I can speak with that many newspapers in the same amount of time, and I could be eating while I'm doing that, or at the gym. Right. So I do love that. Take us into the music. Take us into deep songs from within. Let us walk through that process with you.
Okay. So Deep Songs from Within is 7 songs. And like I said, there were songs that come from way down deep within. So you're going to begin with a song that was inspired by me being totally broken, and my soul was going through kind of a metamorphosis, kind of, and a cleansing. So the scripture that I was in, the words that impacted me at the time was Psalm 42, verse 6 through 8. And it says, deep calls unto deep, your waterfalls, they fall over me. And then it says, by day the Lord leads me, and by night he sings me a song. So those words, the lyrics, drove me to get to the piano, and I would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes and just begin to play. And so the song, I've been singing it for quite a few years. Well, now I won't say a year, about a year. Singing it almost every day. And it's just kind of germinating within here, deep within here. And then the song right after that is called He Is Calling. I wrote that a long time ago for my mom. And my mom passed. And so it was a song that she sang, and I wrote it for her. So the song came, it just kind of jumped in and said, that's the song. And I would minister the song. And when I took it to my vocal producer, she was like, yeah, you got to sing this. I was like, yeah, because I wrote it for my mom, but I would sing it, but I wrote it for her. So she said, no, we can evolve it. It's something. And that song came from me just remembering how my mother passed, and how her walk, and that the whole journey that she was going through, I basically was on the fence just watching to see what she was doing. But it was to both of us, our relationship was very, very tight in the last 10 years of her life, and so I basically wrote that song to remember her, that God was calling her. And that last 6 months of her life, that song was going on in my mind, and I was like, oh my God, please shut up. But it was the song that needed to come next. So the next one is called This Is Love, and that is my husband's song that he wrote, but I arranged it and produced it. It is a song of our story, and we always question, when you fall in love, that first initial thing of the butterflies and the giggles and the nervousness and the whole, you can't stop thinking about the person and all that. And is that love? Yeah. Is it really love? Or if you are controlling, or if you're, toxic, is that love?
Yeah.
The physical things, if you're making love, is that really love? And so it was something that, we had talked about, and my husband was like, yeah, I think you should include that in there, because the songs go with the book. So I just want to say that, make sure that, our listeners understand that these songs, they separate by themselves as expressions from the heart, but they're accompanying my book, which is my story. And then after that is Show Me, and Show Me came, that's kind of my bounce song, and I really, really enjoy it. And it's a song that's a psalm, and I took it and it just came kind of a jazzy, kind of bouncy song. And then after that is Nearer, and I was just wanting God to just really, really draw me close, because I really needed to hear his voice. And then the last one is called Touch. And Touch, I was really blessed on the whole album, actually, to work with some stellar instrumentalists. And they touch like you. They're all over the place. One day they're in Switzerland, next thing they're in Netherlands, China, Japan. And they agreed to come and work on my project. And when I wrote Touch, the way I wrote it and the way that it came off on the album was like, it went from here, went way up there. And the guitar player, when you hear it, it'll take you somewhere. Yeah. I've had even guitar players say, wow, girl, what you was thinking? I'm like, they just took it, and I released it, just like with publishing, self-publishing and publishing. Mm-hmm. That was the thing. I didn't need to hold on to it. I just needed to put it in their lap and let them just do what they did with it. And so touch really is my small voice resonating the Lord's voice, that he wants to touch our soul. He wants to be there and have you listen to him. But he's not going to come like a thunder. He's not going to come like a hurricane. He's going to come like my voice, which is small.
Yeah.
And so I resonate in that way and just kind of speak like with the voice of the Lord in a small way. But the song just
blew up.
It just grew. Yeah, it just blew up.
That's awesome.
So that is Deep Songs from Within.
Thank you for sharing that. And I just wanted to share with our audience a commendation to you and for your body of work. It's actually been an inspiration to me personally. What I've learned from you, just so that you have something tangible to take away, and I admire this, you come across like an empath. You have a very, very sensitive side, and I wish that I could be much more sensitive. I'm working on it. If there's any area of development for me, I'm working on trying to be more sensitive. I'm working on my empathy. You know, when persons make a mistake, I want to be able to, you know, just like turn my head, you know, sometimes, you know, and it's like, oh, that should be a dotted I, you know, cross the T, you know, and I think sometimes, I won't say I'm a perfectionist, but sometimes when you are so detail oriented, you can sometimes just focus too much on minutia. So I'm taking a step back in my personal development journey to try and look at the macro aspect of things, the side B, as you say. I love that. There's a side B to everything, and in our books, that's what we talk about. The cost of success is actually the side B. The side A is Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. That's side A. You know, you see persons flying all around the world. You don't see them stuck, delayed somewhere because of some virus that nobody can control. You know, so they don't.
Wow. Yeah.
Exactly. So thank you for that. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your music. Tell us a little bit about Piano Works and what was going on in your journey then.
So Piano Works collected music again from my teen years. I spent a year in Michigan, all the way up north, almost next to Canada.
Okay.
And a small school, it's called Interlochen Arts Academy. And so after I graduated from Queens College, over there on Soldier Road.
Oh, QC.
QC. I went to College of the Bahamas, which is now UB, and I wasn't being very successful there. I could not concentrate. There was just a lot going on. And so my mom, she was like, listen, you need to like buckle down and do something. And then a friend came to her and said, you know, she could go to Michigan and really focus on what she's really good at, and that is piano. So while I was there, I started writing instrumental, basic instrumental. I was studying composition. And so when I went to the University of Miami after Interlochen, I studied composition and I was writing at the same time. So I've collected songs from when I was at Interlochen, songs from when I was at University of Miami, and then beyond. And the songs, again, would represent the situation that I was in, or songs that would come from the heart, or just a thought that I had, some emotional thing that I'm going through. And it's like I'm playing the piano and crying, and I'm playing, you know, but it's a song, and it resonates what I feel inside. When you hear it, it would resonate as whatever it triggers. And that's the thing that I hope that Piano Works does, that it creates a space for you to rest. That's why, so the piano can work. It's written so the piano can work. And it's working in this way. It either inspires you, or it will calm you, or it will make you question and go, what? So it's written that way. Those songs just came out. They evolved into Piano Works. And you know, I had all kind of names, like talking about names and putting it out there.
Yeah.
I was sitting down one time and asking God, you know, what do I do? You know, I wanted to work on another project, which we'll talk about later, but I wanted to work on another project, and the funds weren't there, the time wasn't there, it just wasn't the right time or the season. And I looked at my hands And I said, what do you want me to do? And it was like resonating. Use what's in your hands. And I said, what's in my hands? Your piano works.
Yeah.
Boom. It was like, aha. That was my aha moment. Using what's in my hands, my piano music, my piano works. Boom. That's the name of the album. And so, yeah, the whole album is 14 songs on there. Okay. And it you just press play. Press play. You don't have to select. I mean, if you find a favorite, you want to replay that one like I do sometimes on other albums. But you press play and you let it work. And then you rest. Yeah.
That's awesome. Some books are like that. You just, well, for me, Think and Grow Rich is one of those books. I always take it on the plane, even if I'm reading something else. And I would always read one particular chapter. I'm not going to tell anyone my favorite chapter, but yeah, I love that book. There are books and there are songs like that you just play over and over and over again. So thank you.
I've fallen in love with this one song that I've been hearing on Spotify. And I'm just 6-7 times. I'm like, I just can't get into this song.
You're just looping it.
Hey, I take the slide bar and go whoop.
Exactly. Tell us, how can you're on Spotify? How can persons get in contact with your music?
Okay, so you can go to Spotify, or you can go to YouTube or iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon, Google Play. I'm up there as Keysha Edwards Taylor, and everything will come up. Deep Songs from Within will come up. On iTunes, you will see both the book, Deep, My Journey to True Inner Peace, and on all the other ones, you will see Deep Songs from Within and Piano Works. Now, on iTunes, you will see only one song from Father's Heart. We are still working on that, even though it's an old album. Basically, those we'll talk about that, about Father's Heart. But I am there, Keysha Edwards Taylor. Make sure you put all 3 names, because if you put Keysha Taylor, they're gonna put Taylor Swift, and then Keysha.
You're fighting the keyword battle, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm trying to find that one that when you put it in, my name comes up. But even if you put it all together, but Keysha Edwards Taylor on all digital platforms, I am there.
Yeah, the algorithm is supposed to be a science, but it's something that I think I'm still challenged with, and a lot of marketers are still challenged with finding the exact keywords that fit you as the entertainer or the artist or the product service provider. You mentioned something, and I just want to dissect it quickly before we talk about Father's Heart. You spoke about during the process of making your music, the timing wasn't right. It wasn't that season yet. Explain to our audience a little bit more about what you meant by that.
Okay, so I had, at the beginning of last year, I had a burning. I mean, I had my music laid out on the table. You should have seen this table. I mean, it was laid out. I knew what I was going to do. I had this burning, like, boom, I was ready. And I went to a producer friend of mine, and I said, I want to do this work. It's 10 songs, and they need to be arranged. They need to be produced. I'm ready to go. And so we went down the whole pros and cons of, how this thing would come about. And when they were finished, the budget was like way up here. And the time frame was like way out here. And I will be very transparent. That blew out the flame. I was like, ah. And, I was discouraged. I was discouraged, but I was encouraged at the same time, because the conversation encouraged me that the work was really great. It needed its time, and it needed the money and the months and the musicians and everything to evolve it, to bring it open. So it wasn't the time. It just wasn't the time. And I had to accept that it wasn't the time. So when I collected my emotions, because it was an emotional response, and then I collected my emotions and I said, okay, I'm not going to be able to work on this because I know my budget can't get there, and to sustain it. Because when you think about making an album, it's not just you go there and sit down and play and you're done. No, you got to pay your musicians, each one. You got to pay your sound engineer and your producer. And then if there's anything wrong, you got to go back in the studio and redo things. You got to pay for that.
Yeah.
And then you pay for the mixing, and then you pay for the mastering. And then after that, if you're going to press CDs, which is being phased out, you're going to pay for that. Or upstream, streaming. You're paying for all of these pro distribution things. So it was a lot to think about. And this is 10 songs, but there are 10 big songs, not like big as in loud, but big where each one needed some special attention.
Yeah.
So I had to calm myself, get those emotions where they needed to be, and just sit and say, okay, I'm going to have to lay that one to rest. But there's something else resonating in there. And you have to ask the question. I think every musician has more than one thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be working on something.
Any creative.
Yeah. You have many things coming out. You're always flowing with something.
Yeah.
And when you focus on whatever the next thing is, when you focus on it, then the energy for it comes, and the provision, all of a sudden you have the money to do it, so it's money and time.
Yeah.
When you have money and time, you can do it, and it doesn't come like you have the full amount, the 100%. You will have maybe 5% to start off with, and then you're working your little side hustle to,
exactly.
Get
Supplement.
Yes, to get another recording date in, or to ask this musician to come. Okay, how much do you charge?
Yeah.
Okay, can we work a little barter thing? I'll do this and you do this for me. So yeah, it's a challenge, but we can do it. We can do it.
Certainly. That concept that you described just now is something we share when we're doing our mentorship workshops, and I call it the sweet spot. Because in goal setting, and it comes right back to what you're saying, because that's what you're doing. You're setting a goal to release an album. You're setting a goal to release a song. In goal setting, oftentimes I found myself looking at something that was, everything is possible. Let me put the disclaimer out there. Everything that you can imagine is possible. But there's some things, like you said, you have to have that, is this realistically, unrealistically gonna happen?
Exactly.
And then when you have that moment, I do a little ceremony. I just cry about it, because I'll be like, oh, I can't. But I have to have a little pout. That's me. I have a little pout about it, and then I slap myself and I say, okay, well, what can I do? And I think that's where a lot of persons get stuck. Instead of saying, what can I do? They just say, oh, well, when I get the ... then I will.
And then you don't ever do anything.
Because the ... doesn't happen until you move.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
you have to put your foot on the pedal and start like a bicycle.
Yeah.
You have to give it the motion, and then the other thing will come around. You got to keep it moving.
Where you move from that 5%, you said you'd get the 5% of the money, and then you work and work and work. That's exactly how it's worked for everyone that we've worked with. And anyone who thinks otherwise, you're a fool. If you think it's just the ducks are all gonna line up for you, that's just not gonna happen. Tell us about a father's heart.
Okay, so Father's Heart, my husband's songs. I arranged them and we produced them in a home studio, and those songs were basically his prayers and also situational, just like me. The songs are like Wait in Hope. I will tell you the very short story about how that song came about. We have a close friend, and she and I were pregnant together, and I think it was that term she lost the baby.
Okay.
And so we were walking with them, and the song just came from that, to wait on the Lord, that he will provide. And then 1 year to the date, she had the baby that she had been waiting for. So it's songs like that. And
see, that was timing.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
And so I think there are 10 songs, and I wrote probably about 4 songs on the album. But it was our first time. That was the first time getting in the studio, collecting the songs that we've been writing and put them together. And we were encouraged by some rap artists, Christian rap artists, who live basically down the street. We didn't even know that. They lived 4 doors down from us. So we would just drag the keyboard down to the studio and set up, do our little, recording, and then come back to the house. It was great. It was a wonderful time. And so Father's Heart, we're just the beginning of the year, we're thinking to just collect the works, get the whole album, and make sure that the mixing and everything is up to speed, and master it again, and then re-release it. So, but people that we have given it to, we were giving CDs. We also did a conference, praise and worship, for the Professional Athletes Association. They did a conference for the athletes, and so we were able to share our music there, and they loved it. So, yes. So I think I'm saying it right.
That's okay.
And NFL, for the NFL players. I don't say the name right, but you can look it up.
That's fine for the NFL players. Thank you so much. And there's no way, Keysha, you're going to come on your show and don't talk about the book. We want to know about the book. Give us the elevator pitch for the book. Pitch us. Go on.
Okay. Deep, My Journey to True Inner Peace is for the reader that wants to see just how you can go through dark, deep, and hurtful experiences and come out shining. That's what the book is. And it's my story. So I open up my life as to what I've experienced, my memories. And it was a very deep emotional journey to be able to release that. I started journaling because, oh my goodness, I had connected with an old friend and we were taking a trip down memory lane. Oh yeah, remember when we used to do this? And we used to eat yellowback red belly candy and eating ganep and stuff like that. And I was like, ding, ding, and all these memories.
Do you like those the yellow red box as well?
Oh, that's my favorite.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and the fox mint is still raining. Oh my.
Yeah.
And the ginger candy and the tamarind sauce, and you add all that sugar and you do we went down there.
Certainly.
And what that did was, as sweet as it was, it triggered memories. And I know God was in it. I know he was in it. He allowed me to go through it, and I was on an emotional roller coaster because deep down within my soul, I had some trauma done, and had not released it. There's some forgiveness that I didn't do. There's some understanding that I didn't have, questions and mistrust that I had lived with, and pushed it way down because, I got married. We had 3 kids. I had to be on top with them, being mommy, being minister, wife, and a musician at the same time. So you just kind of push those things because you're on the stage. You're in the front all the time. And so people see you and they don't want to see you like this. They want to see you like this.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's gonna be camera.
Welcome.
I know. Do you know in the war movies, when the boat comes up to the beach and the panel comes down and these first set of guys that run onto the beach and they all get shot down or shot at, I feel all of us at some point have been those guys or those ladies who are on the front line, especially as creatives, because we're pioneers. We go into unknown or unfamiliar territory, and we don't do this sometimes. Every single day, every song that you write, Keysha, you're out on the front line. Every book that I write, I'm out on the front line. And the other artists, whether you're in entertainment from a media perspective, doing film, videography, cinematography, any one of these fields, ballet, you're constantly putting yourself out on the line. And there are a lot of people that watch this show. There were a lot of people that responded when I said I would have you on the show, and they said that you're true and you're real and you're authentic, and I totally agree. We have been able to convert our pain. I've had my share of pain mistrust, bad relationships, being broke, being fat. Oh my gosh. That's the one that cramps me the most, you know. For the first time, I feel like, you know, oh my gosh. But yeah, being fat and having all these other different emotional traumatizing experiences it feels really relieving to share those with the world. When you give those to the world, it's almost like, what can you say about me now? You know what? When in school they used to say the black boy.
Hey, there you go.
And you black, and you'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's amazing that we can wear our pain and convert those pain into joy. And I like that about you. Any parting words for the aspiring musician or songwriter or author?
I will say, don't lose your passion. I'll take it from you. Because that is what keeps it going. You know, if you're passionate about something, don't lose it. Find what your inspiration is and hold on to that. And, you know, inspiration sometimes will evolve into different things, and don't be afraid to accept inspiration from around. It's like you're used to, I'm used to just kind of putting my music on or whatever. No, maybe go out into nature and see creation as it is, you know. But the passion, that deep longing that's always tugging at you, answer it. Don't close your ears or your eyes or your feelings, your emotions. Just, that's a passion that has been given, and we should be answering it. And the doors will be open for whatever needs to be put forth. And you have to trust that. You have to really, really trust that. So don't lose your passion. Find inspiration from all over, and don't say no to the nudging and that, you know, that deep little knocking. Do this, do this, do this. So yeah.
Thank you. What does the future hold for you, Keysha?
The future? Remember that project I was telling you about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one.
All right. Watch this space.
That one. Yeah, it's gonna take me I think it's gonna take me a while. I feel that deep within that this project is gonna take a while. These are praise songs. These are worship songs. These are songs that I've written in the church, but I believe that it can touch, you know, outside the four walls and really say something the way that it's done. I want it to be done tastefully, in that even people that, okay, so no, quote unquote religious, but they will get the message. You're free. That's one of my songs. Warrior, remain. You know, whatever whatever you're going through, you're in a war. You're a war to yourself, war with other things, the system of this world. You know, just remain, stand still. You know, fight, that type of thing. And then there's a song that's called Majesty. In the church, we're always about worshiping God, but do we realize who He is? He says who He is. He's King. So that within in that realm, and just doing it in such a way that it's gotta give you a hug, you know, and keep you. So it has to be done tastefully, and I know that it's gonna require me to be connected with, you know, the right individuals at the right time, and then resonating the resources from different places, not just my pocketbook or my husband's pocketbook. I really feel like the resources to fund it is going to come from outside as well as, you know, inside. So that is, and the project is called Light. So I just kind of dropped that there. Light, L-I-T-E, living in truth eternally. And that's it. That's what I want to do. That's what's next.
Awesome. Remind us how to get in contact with you, Keysha.
Okay. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm on Twitter, but you know, I don't tweet as much, but mostly Facebook and Instagram, and you can get me by email as well. So on Facebook, I am as my name, Keysha Edwards Taylor. And then on Instagram, I'm at Keysha Music Taylor, one word. So you put the @ sign, you put Keysha Taylor Music, and then you'll find me there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you to your partner again, who's in the background.
Yes.
Making sure everything is straight. He's like the producer.
Yes, he's trying to do everything that he needs to do. Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
that is Charles Taylor. He's my husband, and that's my ABC XYZ.
Super shout out to him. Our quote for the day is, whatever you want to do or dream, you can begin it now. Boldness has genius, magic, and power in it. And that's by William H. Murray. And I think that's a mouthful. Hopefully you can resonate on that and the value that Keysha shared with us. If you found value today, don't forget to click that share button, copy this and give this to one of your friends. Make sure they get in touch with Keysha's music. And if you haven't already, you can purchase my book, The Eye of the Needle, The Cost of Success. You know how to get that. It's email elliot.lkelly@gmail.com. That's elliot.lkelly@gmail.com. Your book, how can persons get in contact with your book?
You can go to Amazon.com and just put the name of the book, or just put my full name, Keysha Edwards Taylor, and the book will come up. So you can get the book there, you can download it, or you can get paperback. I also have books, and you can just contact me on Facebook or on Instagram. Just send me an inbox, and I'll send you a hard copy. It comes together. The book and the CD go together. So you'll get both the book and the CD.
All right. You'll find links to Keysha's music downstairs in the notes. Thank you for joining. You've been watching Eliot Kelly TV. I'm your host, Eliot Kelly, with Keysha Edwards. Thank you so much for joining us on Eliot Kelly TV.
You're tuned into Eliot Kelly TV. I am Keysha Edwards Taylor. Never lose your passion.